Hi, my name is Cassie Rice, and I'm the owner of Gym Cats for many, many years, since 1992. And I have coached many kids to college scholarships, also coached one Olympian, currently have a junior elite, but I'm still coaching in the gym every single day. And I had put together this presentation of my top tips and different tricks that I've really found makes the best impact over the shortest period of time. The most talented kids always figure out a way to improve things, but sometimes you need a little tips for the kids who maybe aren't quite as talented. So here's my presentation. First thing, first tip, care for the child and drop the ego. That's the number one thing I've learned and the most important tip in my entire presentation, to be honest. It's about building the child up because of what happens when they become in their 20s, 30s, and beyond. And many people have been affected negatively by the sport, and we want to make sure that that doesn't happen anymore. Each child learns differently. If you know, you can put yourself in their shoes when you're really struggling on how to learn something or something's very, very difficult for you. That's a real important time to go, hey, maybe that's what's happening to this kid. So remember, each child learns differently. Also, what is motivating them? Why are they even in this sport? Do they like it? Is their parent pushing them? What is the motivation behind them? Also, skill selection. You want to try to pick skills that they have a better chance of being successful at. So we're constantly always going back and kind of making sure they have a foundation and something they can compete and be successful on before they move to the next skill. And then we have the path selection. So there's some gyms that call themselves elite gyms and have an elite program or homeschool program. To me, that is for such a small percentage of the kids that we don't have an elite path. But if an elite kid comes along, we do let them try to pursue their dreams. So there's the Excel path, the JO path, the elite path. Just make sure that you help them go on a path that may result in a better, more successful time in the sport. Okay, my tip number 2 is time everything. So you can time for how many can you get done in 30 seconds. You could say, okay, everybody, we have 6 minutes to get this done. Whenever you're timing, things go quicker. They get more numbers in. You see better gymnastics because of the repetition. Call out the time. So I always say, hey, guys, 30 seconds left, 2 minutes left, 5 minutes left, whatever's left, so that they go, oh, I have to get going, because it's just so easy to get distracted and to sit at the chalk box. So call out the time. Also, we do group games and activities. So say, for example, we put 100 marks on the board and there's 10 girls. We go, hey, guys, every time we make one, let's mark off a mark and everybody work together in this amount of time. And then we have some technology, like I have a seconds app and also a timer app on my phone. All these things help us in timing things, and timing to me is like one of the most important tips. In between, you want to have your circuits and your other items that they do in between their items. Whatever you're working on has a return station. You and your partner both make this and then move to the next item. So sometimes you have that kid who doesn't take turns. You partner them up, and the one person has to make it, then the next person has to make it before they go to the next item. So it helps those hiders. Also, in a row, you can do that. 5 minutes to make this. So, for example, we've done rod floor, tumble track, and real floor. And there's 3 groups, 3 kids on each group, and they each have to make their item all the way in a row, all 9 of them, in 5 minutes. And if they don't, then we just do a consequence, no big deal, but it helps those kids really try for that one turn when they're going to make it in a row. All right, using props and incorporating handstands frequently. So I try to use handstands everywhere on every event, and use the props and obstacles to make the correction. That's the best way, because then they can work independently and know when they've done something wrong. So with handstands, back to the wall is a little bit easier than a flat shaped handstand. Feet against the wall, the one that's on the left there, that's the easiest handstand. And then as they walk in and get closer and closer, trying to scrunch their neck, look at their hands, and keep their back and rib cage in. Those are all very difficult. Teach them to get their rib cage in. If you could see her handstand shape there, in the corner. She's trying to make her ribs hide, and that's very, very difficult to keep your ears covered and to look at your hands. So here's a quick video that shows a little bit of a rib down drill. So your ribs are in, you push flat to the wall. Usually when the kid is poor at this, you will see a space behind their back and it'll arch up. So we're trying not to have that space. Then you could do the same thing by the wall. So it's wall slides, trying to get the rib cage in and push it into the wall. It's very tough. They have to use rib cage strength and stomach strength to keep their handstand shape really, really strong. Okay, this is just a video of props that it's all different levels, little kids, older kids, but it's what it's doing is we just use something that you always have to clear or get over. The more items you use as the prop, the better it is for the kid to know what they're supposed to do. So on that one, you're trying to reach away from the cartwheel. On this one, front handspring over, cartwheel, try to stay in between lines. You know, make sure that you're doing things so that they're trying to reach in a straight line. I'll just let this play for a little bit. But the more items that you put, the more the kid actually enjoys the process because they get to feel like they've succeeded if they've cleared the item. We love props. So if you ever replace your tumble truck pads, the old pads are really, really great. That's what a lot of those yellow pads are. These are the goalposts, we call them. Norbert sells them, the goalposts. So this one showed she split at the wrong time and kicked it over. So we're trying hard not to touch them. You hit it right in between, not go to the side. Anytime you have an obstacle, it teaches the kid what they've done wrong. So these are more team level skills. Hit the shape at the half. And then use Velcro. Try to kick it. Try to kick it. Good. All those kinds of props, props, props. Much as you can. Leap and hop for compulsory. And straddle jumps. Trying to get bigger, 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 bigger. Yes. Side handstand. Shaping. See the rib cage out on that handstand, but you're trying to, she's getting to use the goalpost to balance her. We'd like to have her rib cage in. Arm by her ear as she stands up. Same for front handspring step out. So all those kinds of things. These are some Yurchenko drills where you're hurdling straight and quick bounce. Also working the hurdle. So this is just a lot of different props. All right. This is a landing guide because if the kid is doing things crooked, they can tell because you have those landing guides. If we didn't have those there, she would have probably thought that was pretty straight. But since you have those items there, it helps to say, hey, look, you went a little bit to the side. So same thing, same concept on your Yurchenko training. Like, can you land on that mat without hitting the pad? Are you straight? That was nice in the middle. Or does your hand touch it? So you're trying to do these things that try to help them feel, hey, corrected myself because I was a little bit. All right, here's another prop. This is TheraBand Giants. So we have a TheraBand on one arm and across the body on the other arm. You're trying to feel the big arch at the bottom and get it off your body, which is very, very difficult. If they have this kind of giant, it is really easy to do a double layout out of it. So if you can get them to feel that big stretch arch and that big release off the body, they're going to have a really, really good giant for a double layout. Same concept is the foam stick. So she's trying to get her toes in front of that stick. And that's the same double layout tap that you need. Trying to get your toes in front of it. And they kick it, but you're trying to say, hey, miss it, miss it, miss it. And if they do it better, they have a stronger giant for a double layout. Okay, number 4, that was a lot of tips. Twisting tips. We plan the level 4 bar dismount with how you want to do your future blind changes. That's just an idea. Teach front and back twisting in the same direction. So many times kids do a round off in the air. Well, that if you're a righty and you do a round off in the air, you're twisting left. So then when you go to learn a front half, you end up doing it lefty, and then that messes up half and half outs and all those kinds of things. So if they get to that, it does become a problem. If not, it's not a big deal. So you just got to see what's better for that individual kid. If the floor or beam knows you're twisting, you'll go crooked. So I try to tell the kids that the floor or the beam has to think you're taking off straight. Because you tilt or lean or set to the side, starting your twist while you're still on the apparatus, you're going to go crooked. That's why I think trampoline is so important, because you must take off straight or you will land crooked on the trampoline. On beam, we always want to do the shape at the half, so we'll show some of that. Lines to land between, use the tramp box. We don't want to tilt or cheat on the floor. Like I said, it will start making you land crooked, and that's when you do get some more injury. So taking off straight is really important. And always start with late twisting everywhere. Twisting will always get earlier, so try to start with late twisting. That's really, really important. Okay, so here's some late twisting. We use some tramp pads to try to stay straight, but first just lay out jump half. Start thinking of turning your feet. This one is going forward, front, slide, turn, front, slide, turn, front, slide, turn. Turns into a full. Don't worry about the pike. It's very, very easy to get rid of, so you don't have to worry about that. But make sure we're trying to start late, because it always gets wrong. This is a cheese drill. We go down the cheese, start rolling. So you could start with just landing on your back and rolling down, and then after that, you can start twisting before you land. So you put the cheese the way they twist. This is just a quick comedy break, because she ended like a taco. All right. Okay, so here's number 5, beam preferences. So the beam preferences, the feet on landing. We don't want to nest, what I call nesting your feet in between each other, because it ends up making your hips twist. So that's real important. We want your feet toe to heel. So always practice that beam feet is what I call it, so that the hips are straight. Plie correctly. You see we call it the big toe is daddy toe and second toe is mommy toe, the most important toe. And you want to plie over mommy toe, because you don't want the knee going over to the side, as you can see on the left picture. Flip-flop hands. So I don't like the hands to be on top of each other or to be twisted. So we try to say the finger has to point straight ahead on the flip-flop hand. And this is a really important sticking point for me, because I change kids all the time and find it straightens them out. If you are a righty, you put your left hand in front, and a lefty, you put your right hand in front. That is a big thing that we just make all the kids switch, even if they come from other gyms. We've had success with every single one we've switched. And when we're teaching to begin with, we just start it this way, and it's a lot easier. Okay, you want to split early on back handsprings. So this is trying to hold the back leg. You put your hand on their back foot as you're spotting them and try to land in a split. Okay, this is a hip twisting drill. We want to try to, when you have kids split on square, their hip will twist, and so you want to try to do this drill where you square their hip, and then they step down pulling their shin. So they pull the back shin to your hand and step down. And if you see as I'm spotting that, you're trying to pull with the back shin, so it's square, step down, pull, right. So that's just a picture of that, where she's pulling with that. Land with the same foot in front that you would land with a cartwheel. So we try not to switch feet. If a kid comes with their feet switched, we usually won't switch it, because that is really tough to switch, and it's not that bad as long as you have a decent round-off block. But if their round-off block is a little weak, then switching feet does make them crooked. So we start with the same foot that you land your cartwheel, will land in front on the round-off. All right, number 6, we like this tip. It's really good. Hopefully my picture doesn't mess this up, but you're trying to use your thumbs on every sit-up. So if you see the thumbs become natural, they go around the bar, you sit up. Each time you have your thumbs go around. So we try to teach this as young as possible. We really like it when they can do cast handstands, so they can have a better chance of balancing those. So try to, as they sit up, try to work on getting them comfortable moving their thumbs over. Some kids will not be able to do this, just don't worry about it. But if they can, this helps give them control. And in college, they want you to hit those handstands, so thumbs do help with that. All right, I call this the 5th and 6th events, but it's just trampoline. So USA Trampoline has some new routines that come out every 8 years or whenever they come out. And we try to teach the kids some kind of tramp routine so that they work on connecting skills and the basics. Now, these aren't very strong routines, but what we're trying to do is get coordination, connection, working on form. We'd like to do those with straight legs, all these different things. But level 4 tramp routine, you can have just all your kids learn it. There's a list online, so you can always figure out what those are. I'll just finish this one. But once they're able to do that, you can give that as an assignment, and then you can have something that all the kids know what to do. Okay, and then this is just example of a level 7, so you could do this. I do not like a lot of this technique, but in fact, the girl just twisted 2 different directions on her front half, which is not good either. But you know, a little bit more advanced skills, the level 7 tramp routine. But if you do these properly, really, really strong, all the jumps and technique, pike kickouts, you know, all beautiful form, it really is invaluable for teaching coordination and air sense. All right, other ways to use the tramp. So you can have this as a side station. It's good for control. This is a back extension handstand, which is good for back toss for boys or maybe a pack for girls. And it's just a real nice drill to do on the side. And then trying to undershoot it, that's another coordination drill. And then maybe an overshoot drill. So back drop handstand, trying to be tight. It's good for stutzes for boys or shoot overs for girls. So just little drills that you try to come up with. We try to get all our kids to do their routine, their passes, their 4 passes or 3 passes connected with 1 bounce. So this is one of our girls who is trying to get these 4 passes in her routine. So that's what we say, go do your optional tramp routine. That's what we mean by that. 1 bounce in between. It's just great for air sense and coordination. Ballet is another one. So we try to use these things that are called balance boards and try to get more stable for their turns and their releve and their ankle strength. So balance boards are a great thing to have going on. Here is some spinning work. So we have these things called spinners. We get them from some ballet, and they're just a flat board that really, if they can do this, they work on their center and they can do multiple turns on floor. If you could see the girl who's in the background, she does what most of our kids do, so they have trouble feeling where their center is and just fall right away. But as you can see, as they practice it, they get really, really good at it. Okay, so we have RS. I never knew what that meant, but it was in a manual for USAG once, and so I said, what is an RS? Well, that's a return station. So we're trying to develop a return station, habits, drilling, consequences for what they're doing wrong. Not a negative punishment type consequence, but something that helps them improve the item that they're having trouble with. So we want coaches and gymnasts to get in the habit of making a return station on the way back from whatever they're working on. Make the drill relate to the problem, so you don't say, you fall on your full turn, do your push-ups. That's silly. Add strength for the event or even for other events, because that can help out as well. And you want to do smaller numbers but quality return stations. So if they can do them better, that's better, and incorporate them on every event. All right, my tip number 9, we're getting to the end here, is use variety and periodic testing. So we think that's really important. Once you set up your stations, try these variations, speed and numbers we already talked about. Show and style, we do 1 at a time, but don't do it too often because obviously that cuts down on numbers, and numbers is the key for them to really feel confident and do well. So, but we do want the show turns. So we do a lot of the infrequently we will show the 1 at a time so that they can show off for the whole group and see what they will do under pressure. We also do partner or group tasks, get to 1 in a row or get to 20 points. We try to have the partners each make it, or anything that helps with the hiders. We have a secondary purpose. So what are you trying to do? We're trying to get numbers off the board. We're trying to write it on a sheet. We're trying to pick up cards. What's our secondary purpose? We don't want to just say, do these, because then like, okay, time's up. We didn't do it. Oh, well, whatever. So we try to have a secondary purpose. We'll do a game. We'll use blocks, foam, cards, Connect Four, something to put those in. These are our secondary purposes. Fill in boxes, get to X points, do a beanbag toss, play tic-tac-toe. We like to do hangman sometimes. We'll do all different games. So we'll also have periodic team testing, parent invitations, and rec shows. These are great ways for the parents and everybody to get involved. We don't try to make them stressful. We try to say, hey, this is just where you're at. Every kid learns at different rates. So we try to do a lot of parent education because we know how the move-ups go and how stressful that is. But very, very important part of everything is those periodic things. All right. Here's an example of a compulsory rotation involving some strength items. So say you had 8 kids all doing this. They had to do 3 glides on this bar, trying to point the toes. And then we go over and we do some hand switches. So those can just get them rotating around the event. Okay, then she runs over. She's following somebody, pretending. Gonna follow somebody onto this bar. She's gonna do some toe taps. And then she goes and hangs on the bar. Some leg lifts. And some hollow arches. So that's for tap swings. And then she runs over. She grabs an apples to apples card and puts it in her cup. So at the end of doing a certain number of rotations or time periods, you go play the apples to apples game and everybody has their own cup. So some kind of thing that has the secondary purpose. Here's a leap circuit. So just some ideas while we're talking about it. Try to think of things in a circuit format. So it's not, okay, everybody practice your leaps. You think of this drill, that drill, rotate from item to item, do rounds of items, whatever it is, you're trying to think of different ways to keep the kids moving and improving on whatever you're working on. So these girls were trying to do some switch splits and they were a little confused on doing a switch straddle or a switch split. Hit the split at the half. We talked about that a little bit. Every time you're trying to do something, you want to hit it at the half, right? This is a no-handed leap, so she's trying to push through her feet. It's a little bit harder. Now she'll do some switch leaps that don't look so great because she can't use her arms. From a kneel and running, not using your arms. With weights, she can do that. Excellent. Okay, we have our whole game shelf, so I recommend games as much as possible because if the kids are having fun, they're going to want to do more numbers. And there's a secondary purpose to it, and that's trying to say, life is not all about perfect gymnastics. It's about enjoying your time in the sport. So a real important thing to have as another purpose in the gym and enjoy their time here. All right, your role as a coach. You have to take it out of it being your gymnastics or representing you. So that's that number 1 thing. Number 1 and number 10 tie together. You're a tool for the kids to use, and you cannot make or force, and it is not your job to push a kid. So you need to get out of the waterfall because you know how kids can be. When they're frustrated or upset, they're going to fight with you. They're looking for whoever can battle and blame, so it's not their fault. So what you want to do is get out of that waterfall. You don't want to be part of it. You want to say, hey, I'm here as a helper. I'm here as an aide. I'm not here to get into the fight with you. So we want you to show you care about them, but not about what they can do for your ego. So it's not about making you look bad or embarrassing you. It's about how you care about helping them to get to their goal. And you're just there to help them. And they have to really know and feel that. And then in spotting, there are some especially camp situations where, kids are thrown through things they're not quite ready for, and it's about showing off your spotting skills of a kid who could barely do a layout on how you spot them through a double back. Well, I mean, I was spotted as a kid through something like that as well, but I don't think that's a good way. I think what's better is you build up all the different areas for them so that they are learning the skill themselves, and that's what you're supposed to be teaching them, is how they can feel confident and safe, not rely on you. When you use you as the main part of the skill, it's about ego again. It's about you. How do they need you? So, for example, on most events, we don't spot hardly at all. On vaults, we go into the pit first, we build up mats slowly, we soften them, we make them so uh, competent by the time they're competing, they don't need a spot. There is a level 8 first flipping vault at a meet. It does get a little scarier, so that's the one place we will have a double spot or a spot for their first flipping vaults in a meet if they're not as ready as we'd like them to be. On beam, it's the same thing. You're on a line, you move to a low beam with mats, you lower the mats slowly. They've done so many numbers. The mats on the high beam start high and lower down. By the time they're ready to compete, you're not needing the spot. Occasionally there's mental issues, and we do support kids in those, but really if they're trained well, they're confident and they're ready. And on floor, they're tumbling into a pit and then get it lower and lower and lower, or on tumble track or wherever it stops, so that they aren't getting a chance of being hurt and they've learned it all themselves. So that gets them really ready. Now, the one area that needs a lot more spotting is bars. So there are some skills that need some spotting the first time. For example, mill circles, squat-ons, making sure their tap swings are safe so they don't peel, so stand between the bars and catch them. The flyaways need a lot of spotting when they're first starting. Overshoots need spotting. Blind changes need spotting. So there are things that need spotting, but what you're trying to do is set up all the drills first so that you're not there to put them through it or save their life completely. You're just there as a guide in case they do something completely uncharacteristic. So really important to me that spotting is more of just in case, instead of it being about you and putting them through the entire skill. Okay, so I go over 3 P's for you as a coach. So we have personal responsibility. So if you've ever heard yourself say something like, these kids these days, they all just don't care. If it's all the kids in your group, it's you. It's your problem. If everybody can't do X, Y, or Z, it's you. If your whole gym is bad at this, it's you. If you have a kid here or there that is weak and can't get that skill, it's not a problem. It's when it's everyone can't do it. So, for example, we had a time where none of our kids were doing dismounts, and I was like, what are we doing wrong? So we totally changed how we taught them, changed how we taught the flyaways, and now we have a bunch of kids who can do dismounts. So it's real important that you really look at you and your personal responsibility. Also, perseverance. The sport is tough. It takes a lot. It takes repetition. It takes working through fears. It takes so much that you have to show the kids the same perseverance that you would like them to show. So perseverance for you. Really, really, really try to stop yourself when you go, this whole group, this whole team, kids these days. When it's about everybody being a problem, then you really need to look at you and your personal responsibility and perseverance. And then positivity. This has to increase 1,000,000%. The studies are showing over and over and over again that kids who are told what's wrong, bad, no good, wrong, bad, no good, over and over and over again are growing up with anxiety. They're growing up thinking they're not worthy. They're growing up thinking that they're no good. And coaching is inherently negative, telling them what's wrong all the time. So what we need to do is constantly interject the woohoos and the wow, that was great, and really showing that you're excited for them and happy and positive. And even if something is off, you tell them what you thought was better, or how you're proud of how hard they're working. So all of this should have some kind of positive connotation, and not just pointing out, well, your legs were bent again, and your legs were bent again, and your legs were bent again, or you're not 180-degree split. Nope, you didn't make a 180-degree split again. Nope, nope, nope. So you can see how negative and down somebody can get. So what we like to promote is what Carol Dweck wrote, the book Mindset. So I recommend every parent and coach and teacher read this book Mindset so that we can try and reframe the athletes and their kids in schools mentality about how they learn. Is it better for a kid to take a course that's super easy and get an A, or go into a really challenging course where they learned a lot but only get a C? Is it results, or is it what the actual learning that occurred was? So I try to talk a lot about how the mind works and what we're doing to kids with coaching too negatively. What is the culture in your gym? So are you putting down other coaches? Are you getting frustrated? Are you yelling? Are you harming feelings? Do kids feel happy and positive walking in, or does it feel stressful and I have to achieve? So you really need to look at the culture that you have in your gym and make sure it is something that kids will look back in 15, 20 years and go, wow, I loved my time there. So really, really look hard at that. All right, and then I made up these things called tiers of coaching. So, I mean, it's just made up, but you want to know what tier of a coach are you? What level are you? Because coaches love to see, you know, am I achieving? So I made up these tiers of coaches. So the first one is tier 1. I can see the problem. So I call this a parent, really, because parents can see, hey, your legs were bent. You're not a very strong coach if you're just seeing the problem. Your legs are bent. So the tier 2 coach is a little bit better because they actually know the correction. So your legs are bent because I want you to tighten your quad muscles so that your legs get straight. So you know the correction. So you're a little bit better of a coach because you actually know the correction. The tier 1 coach is just, I see the problem. You took a step on your dismount, you know, and the tier 2 is, hey, try to plie and look forward so you don't take a step on your dismount. So a little bit better, but that's not super high level either. Okay, the tier 3 is what I hope to at least have in my gym, which is I know the drills, basic strength, flexibility to help you learn the correction and can break it down into little parts for the least talented kids to learn better. So love seeing when there's a breaking down of an element into the smallest parts because you can't ever get too proficient at the very, very basics. So at least we hope we have that. We've got drills, we've got circuits, we've got strength and flexibility, we've got props, we've got all these things to help us. So we hope we have at least tier 3. So our tier 4 also is elevated a little bit more because they think of fun and unique ways with that secondary purpose. So the thing we were talking about before with the games and trying to help them have a secondary purpose, they're not realizing how much they're working because they're also having fun. That's a tier 4 coach. That's an amazing coach. Tier 4s, if I had those all in my gym, well, it would be phenomenal. But those are very, very difficult. And then there is that one echelon tier 5 coach, and you see it might be cut off, but they've done everything in 1 through 4. They've done all they can, but they have to think outside the box, look up extra drills, ask other coaches, talk to the experts, ask parents to, you know, come in extra for 30 minutes so they could try really hard to help them with that problem. So that is a think outside the box coach and a real above and beyond. So which tier are you? Hopefully we get more tier 4s and, you know, your tier 5s are those exceptional people that you may want to consider a raise for. So, okay, so next thing. So picking your battle. So we have some dance warm-ups and bikers and all this. So we have things that are made to use it and have fun. We don't do the same run every day. I know some people do the national team run every single day. I can't imagine doing 7 things. They're so boring. So we try to mix it up. We have a whole bunch of different musics that we do. On our YouTube channel, on the Gym Cats YouTube page, we have a million different warm-ups and stretches to music, and they're anywhere from 3 minutes to 8 or 9 minutes. But in the old days, we used to do 1 hour of warm-ups. I mean, it was crazy. Like, I don't even know how we filled an hour, but you know, now literally we can be warmed up for a run for 3 minutes and a stretch for 3 minutes, and these kids are warmed up. So it's not helping for us to sit in a split and yell at them about how bad their splits are. It's not getting those kids' splits better. What they're usually doing is pushing up and resisting the stretch. So active flexibility, movement, more fun, more enjoyment, uplift the culture and the mentality as walking in the gym so that they want to come. How many of you guys have kids quitting and not showing up at the beginning of practice or skipping the tough days that they've discovered are much harder? This is what we need to change. We're trying to figure out what works to help them. So apparel, warm-ups, attitudes, these are all real important. Sometimes I let the kids have an attitude. I think it's an okay thing because they're human beings, to not be so stressed out and not be allowed to show that they're human emotion. If they're a robot, they're battling something up and there's going to be a problem later on. So I don't know if we watched enough of this, but there's we do different music so that they have, and I think the girls made this one up. We just try to have fun when they're running. The stretching, you know, it's not always the same. Alright. Okay, and then this is a musical stretch. We have a whole bunch of different stuff. Like I said, our YouTube channel, Jim Cats YouTube, you subscribe to that, you can go copy some of those, change it up, whatever you like. But I've taken a bunch of these from different people on the internet, and we just try to get the kids, you know, moving right away. They all know it, and then it's easy, and you just put the music on. So it makes your job easier, even though at first it's a little bit harder. We don't have battles over how to do one meet before meet of the virus to get it. Otherwise, no, we don't do that. You have to wear what we want you to wear. Leah's part of it. We don't do that. So pick your battles, really important. All right, so here's my summary. One is drop the ego, love the child, time everything, break it down, twisting tips. Those are real important. On the twisting tips, I kind of left out the after the layout jump half. We just start from that, twisting layout half, and then a layout half with a jump half, and then with a full jump half. And we just keep doing it that way because it always gets earlier. So we don't start it with like the Arabian style where they're twisting earlier. We try to do it where it's super late because it always gets earlier. So try with your twisting to always think twist through your toes and hips, not through your shoulders, and you're going to have a lot of success there. My beam preferences, we had the splitting early, we had the hand placements, we had the round off feet, all those different beam things. Number 6 was teach thumb use on bars. So that's to help with those cast handstands. Number 7, use trampoline and dance, the 5th and 6th events, which are really, really important. Number 8, drills after every turn, drills or conditioning or something at the end of each station. And number 9, variety, spice of life. So please mix it up. How boring is it when you do the exact same thing every day? And then number 10 is you can make the difference. What kind of coach are you? So you're the one who can make this all change. So yes, should everybody be self-driven and motivated? Yes, but it's just not the reality of life. So we want to make sure that you are also creating that fun environment and that great culture. All right, well, side note, this is educating the parents. So just put this video in here. And it's kind of just a comedy video about how some of the parents act, so I'll just let this play.
And what days do you want to come?
Okay. And what's the last? What?
Very disappointed with the management of this year's establishment.
Excuse me.
1 second, sir. Right. I'm gonna get you into the day and time. I'm sorry, I have someone at the desk here. Can you hold on a moment? Thank you. How can I? Excuse me, sir. How can I help you? Did you bring your own belt?
I did, in anticipation of the poor service that I always receive here.
I am sorry. How can I help you? What's your name?
My name is Vic.
And your last name?
Timize. Vic Timize, that's my name.
Okay.
You would think you would know my name with the amount of money I spend here.
I apologize. It's difficult to know everyone. What's your child's name?
Victoria, I already said it. Also goes by Vic. We're both Vic Timize.
All right.
My daughter has had her grips stolen thrice in a single week, and not a single coach has done anything to help her.
All right, Mr. Tamize. And the loss of your grips?
Not the loss. Not the loss. The robbery.
All right. So can I try to find them for you?
Listen, I would like to speak with the owner. The owner, please. She's the only person who can help me.
The
here.
owner is usually busy. If you'd like to email her.
I would like to speak with her immediately. You can never help me here.
All right, let me see if I can get her.
And while you're doing that, I'd like you to get me a popcorn.
Right now you want a popcorn?
Yes, I'd like one now. Probably one for later, too. I've worked up an appetite.
There
Thank
you
you.
go. Let me get the owner.
Immediately. Thank you.
Cassie, there's a gentleman downstairs. He wants to talk to you. He's very upset. His name is Vic Tamize, and he's very upset about something.
Yeah. Thank you for meeting with me on such short notice.
Mr. Tamize?
Yes, Vic. Vic Timize, that's my name.
What seems to be the issue?
Well, my Victoria. I've had her grip stolen from her now, thrice in a single week. Not a single person has done anything about it. I tried to talk to the front desk, and they are completely incapable of helping me with any of my issues.
Well, Mr. Tamize, most of the time kids don't steal other kids' grips because they form to their hands and they don't want to wear somebody else's grips because they don't feel right. So maybe they were misplaced. So what happened the other 2 times?
Well, the other 2 times she did end up finding them. But the 3rd time was a definite robbery.
Hey, excuse me. I'm sorry, but aren't these her grips? They were out by the bars.
Those do appear to be Victoria's.
So they weren't stolen. She did misplace them again.
I suppose. But this does not make the bullying okay. All of the girls on her squad are mean to her, meanwhile Victoria wouldn't hurt a fly. None of your coaches, none of them care about it. The only person who seems to care around here is me.
Well, Mr. Tamize, we all do really care. And what we try to teach kids is the 3 P's, and that's personal responsibility, perseverance, and positivity. And with those skills, they can grow up to be successful in anything they do. But the number 1 most important P is called personal responsibility. So she has to come forward and help us know about a situation that's bothering her. She has to be an advocate, learn to communicate with the coaches, because she's the one that's always going to be there. So we need her in this whole equation to learn those skills. And when you come in and speak for her, it doesn't give her that confidence or help her learn those skills. So it's really important that you are helping her along the way like we coaches are.
Yes, I see your point. Well, thank you for meeting with me then, explaining this all to me. I will try to apply those P's.
That would be great.
But first I'd like my popcorn to go.
There you go, that's fine.
Thank you for meeting with me. My dad is not happy. My father is not happy with me.
Can I help you, sir?
You can. Did you talk about my bell? My shoe's falling off.
Sir, can I help you? Did you bring your own bell?
I did, in anticipation of the poor service I always receive here.
Well, let's just put that down and wait. How can I help you? I'll keep it down here for safekeeping.
Good. Do it again. All
You
right,
think,
all right.
Mom?
Bring it back down to PG. Yeah, that's true.
She did find them the other 2 times.
I don't know why I said, did you say that?
Yeah, you kind of killed the line, Mom.
Okay, go ahead.
Wah, 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 wah.
Exactly.
I can't wait to take off this mustache. Really annoying. And stop eating popcorn. I'm really over it.
Okay, so a lot of that is really silly, but we have 3 of those on our website as well to try to educate the parents and keep their gymnastics view in perspective and not get overly crazy about their kids. Number 1 line I tell the parents is tell them that you love watching them no matter what they do. Tell them you love watching them no matter what they do, because that is the best way for kids to own their gymnastics, succeed in gymnastics, and enjoy their time in it and not have that pressure from the parents as to not achieving enough. So, all right, well, thank you very much. I wanted to finish up with that. And if I can answer any questions, I would love to do so. You can always email me at gymcats@gymcats.com. Thank you.